It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 129 today. Glad you're with us, ready to go, enjoy this next hour, clothes-free living for all the right reasons. Well, on today's show, Andee and Tom Rodgers, the terrific Lisa Monroe, and part one of my interview with ANDREA from the WOW campaign. Well, the pool is ready to go, the hot tub is fired up, the grill is going, fruits and vegetables off to the right, cold drinks on the left. Hot drinks inside, hammock, putting green, cigar bar, it's all here for you, ready to enjoy today's show. And now let's go ahead and hear the latest report from Andee and Tom Rodgers.
Hi, this is Andee.
And this is Tom. We're reporting on our last winter I'm Perfect tour stop.
So our stop was at Tiger Mountain in Washington. And Tom and I have only visited Tiger Mountain briefly before. Usually, we like to spend the entire weekend with everyone, but they had such a huge event that weekend with the Naturist Society Foundation, there was no room for us to stay. But they had a great weekend, and we were happy to be the last event for that weekend. So we showed up on Sunday morning to round out their weekend, and Tiger Mountain supplied breakfast for all of those attending, and I was really surprised, pleasantly, to have mimosas with the women using my very favorite sparkling wine from Treveri Cellars. Thanks, ladies. So after getting set up, we enjoyed coffee, donuts, fruit, and yogurt as well, and the ladies met in their clubhouse, which the night before had been filled with people enjoying a glow party. Looked like it was a lot of fun. So we began the women's time together by introducing ourselves and how long we have been nudists. I was joined by 12 amazing women, from a relative newbie to a woman who has enjoyed this way of life for over 30 years. We shared laughter together and then tears as well. The conversation flowed easily back and forth as we learned about our struggles and our triumphs in life. It's always my greatest joy to share how becoming a nudist has changed my life. I spent the first 50 years hating everything about my body. At some periods in my life, finding it even disgusting when I looked in the mirror. It was through the freedom of social nudism that I finally accepted myself. More importantly, it was the women in the nudist communities that helped me learn to love myself. They told me the strengths I had that I could not see in myself. They used words like beautiful, strong, worthy, courageous, and that list just goes on and on. But we ended our time together by heading down to their pool for a group picture and more conversations of what it means to spend time together as women, to build each other up, and to deepen our relationships together, which is so incredibly important. I want to say thank you to Tiger Mountain. It was an absolutely amazing final presentation.
Well, we started by being in the main hall with the women, grabbing a few breakfast items and coffee to go as we wandered down to the covered area just below the clubhouse. 9 guys showed up, and I gave a brief description on what we had just done over our winter tour that was so amazing. They were very interested in a lot of clubs that we had visited. A lot of them had been to those clubs. I talked about how the Pacific Northwest region gets together with most of the clubs and how we do events together. Supporting each other is our main emphasis with the clubs. Some of the guys were from different regions, and they had noticed that we as clubs up here were doing just that. We talked for about an hour, hour and a half, and everybody said that they learned some good information and felt good to be together, and was glad that we sat down to talk. Thanks to everyone who supported us on this journey.
Thank you for listening and making us feel welcome everywhere we go, and we hope to meet you somewhere down the road.
The very terrific Andee and Tom Rodgers, as she put in her note, that's the 20th and last presentation. So hats off and thank you to Andee and Tom Rodgers. You're listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 129. Glad you're here. I hear some music, and that can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one and only, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free, and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning. I am doing terrific, except it's humid as heck out there, and I want to jump in the pool instead of doing this.
Well, you have to be careful because we have people in the northern USA who would give maybe part of their right arm for some humidity right about now.
I know that, and I'm terribly sorry for them. Been there, done that, and I understand I have the mental scars from it. Thank you very much. But yeah, I do feel sorry for anyone who doesn't want to be in that climate who is.
Yeah, at least it's not snowing yet in most of the USA. At least I don't think so, but that's coming soon, but not to us. So that's why we have to be careful. And look at us. We're naked outside in January, and you're not. Well, we don't want to do that.
Yeah,
right?
this is, of course, we could be ducking hurricane winds, so they don't have that to deal with. So maybe there's a trade-off here. I don't know, but anyway.
That is true. We don't want to reenact the what scene was it in The Wizard of Oz where they went flying through the air? Was that one of the witches or was that Dorothy?
That was Dorothy at the beginning, I think, wasn't it? When the house got picked up and Toto got missing, and
we just want to make sure we're not flying through the air with a hurricane. But
exactly.
And if it does, we'll say, boy, I wish we could be somewhere cold where it's snowy and no humidity and no hurricane. So it goes both ways, right?
It does. It certainly does.
All right. Well, as everybody knows, we have a Patreon page here. We gave up paid work, actual paid work, paychecks coming in. We gave those up.
I don't remember what those are.
I know. We gave those up to do this show for free. Not the smartest business decision ever, although we knew exactly what we were doing. It's not like we got surprised and, oh, no money coming in. That's different than money coming in. No, we knew. But there are expenses here. We've asked people to reach out through Patreon and support the show, and we appreciate you very much. More than we can even convey here, and that's why we give you some extras, like a newsletter. If you're a Patreon peep, paying Patreon peep, PPP, you get a newsletter every month. And the top two tiers, you get an extra show. You get special content where we, for lack of a better term, let our hair down a little bit and tell some stories that we wouldn't put on the regular show. And those have gone over very well as well. Lisa Monroe, on every show, we try to highlight some folks who have recently become PPBs. Who do we have today?
It's getting kind of cool because we've been hoping to get more and more couples. So this week we have couples, and it's Barbara and James, and Rusty and Jamie.
I know men named Rusty, and I know women named Rusty. At least that's their nickname anyway.
Yeah.
So it's either, I'm guessing, a man named Russell or a woman with red hair. Is that fair to assume?
Usually those kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah. And if not, then we apologize to Rusty. We're just making generalizations, which we shouldn't do. But thank you to Barbara and James. Thank you to Rusty and Jamie. And thank you to all who are Patreon peeps. We really appreciate you. We do the show for free. We give it away for free. And whatever you can do to support us when you're listening to us, if you can support us at the same time, we appreciate it. Lisa, I've mentioned before, I support a couple of podcasts out there. Not Naturism, the two shows I support. They give regular content. Every week they're dropping a show on the same day, and it's pretty good. And I won't get into the titles. It has nothing to do with Naturism again. Do you support any shows out there, or have you before?
I certainly do. At least at one at the moment is what I support, and it's one that's, I'm a scientist by nature. So the one that I support is the Science Podcast, and they have regular YouTube videos and everything that come out. So it's something that I love, and it's even though I didn't go into this particular branch of science, there's a lot of astrophysics. It's space stuff, and I love it. So
Okay.
that I do support.
Yeah, and that's always been my belief. If you're going to use something, you probably ought to, I don't want to say pay for it, but you probably ought to give something back. Not to make people feel guilty. I'm just giving my personal thought. And so we ask you to give to the show if you can. If you're a regular
Mhm.
listener, we're giving it for free. Well, whatever you can give back to support us, we'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You are the guru around here, the hostess with the mostest
Oh,
as far as merchandise. Anything new on the merchandise front?
oh, and I thought here I was the hostess with the mostest. Okay, I'm hosting the website, I guess, is the way to put that. I'll take that moniker. Okay. Yes, we have some new merchandise right up on October 1st, as we promised. And for those poor people who are still in the Northern Hemisphere, it is getting chilly. You will need something to wear as you go to the resort and huddle around the fire and, enjoy life that way or get in hot tubs. So, and those for our friends in the Southern Hemisphere, they're getting to get warm. So
Mhm.
we are trying to take care of both. So we've got, all the great summer gear for our Australia, New Zealand, and so forth, friends around the world. But also, we have sweatshirts and long sleeve t-shirts for our northern people. So you can go on the website and find, well, they're actually hoodies and then long sleeve t-shirts. And also, as kind of a lark, there's a knit cap that has NNN on it for anyone who wants to wear that out, keep their head warm.
I was going to say, to be clear, the knit cap goes on the head. We don't want people
Yes.
don't be funny with these hats. Put them on
Oh,
your head.
no.
You just
No.
never know.
Oh my God. Well, no, we don't know. There's always a joker in every crowd, but no, these are little knit caps for your little head. I did resist getting the ones with pom poms, but
Okay.
because they were cute. But anyway,
All right. Yeah, it's so in the middle of winter when you're shoveling snow, you can have
Mhm.
some N gear on, and while
Exactly.
you're shoveling the snow and 20 degrees below zero, Fahrenheit, you can say, "Boy, I wish I were naked," and then you can just touch your shirt, touch your
Yes.
hat, and that'll warm you up right away. At least that's the philosophy. Don't know if it's true, but it sounded good.
It sounds good. And I think everyone should remember, even under clothes, even when we're forced to wear clothes, we are still naturists.
That's
So
right.
that feeling should never go away. You just get that anxious feeling to get those things off. So it'll work.
That's right. We are naked 100% of the time, whether we have clothes on or not, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's a mindset. You got to keep the mindset that keeps you happy.
That's right. Well, on the last two Wednesdays, oh, I forgot to ask, how do people find all this merchandise? How do you guide them there?
And I forgot to tell, they just go to our website, nakednudistsandnatures.com, and click on the NNN shop, and everything's right there for you.
All right. Okay. Now, on the last two Wednesday shows, we've featured the article by Dustin.
Hmm.
You can find him at One Naturist Life on Blue Sky. And I think he's on Twitter as well. It's the numeral one and then Naturist Life. Excellent writer, not just because he wrote about us and said a lot of nice things. He's an excellent writer. And he came out with an article on us and a glowing report that we did not ask for, we didn't pay for.
We stumbled upon,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, he didn't tell us he was doing it. He didn't tell it was out. We saw it on Blue Sky. I thought, oh, something about us. Oh, let's click on it. And whoa. So we thought it deserved at least two shows, probably more. But, at some point, we got to move on. But we just want to thank Dustin again. And he's on the board of directors for ANDREA West. I didn't know that a few weeks ago. Oh, I guess I did. I forgot. I slipped my mind.
It's okay. You're allowed.
Yeah, that's right.
You're 27 now. Things
That's
slip
right.
away.
When Jeff Jackson got elected as the vice president, Dustin was elected as a director. And he's also the PR director for ANDREA West. So he's also, becoming a big name in the world of naturism. Loves it, loves ANDREA, wants to do more and more and more. And so hats off to Dustin. Lisa, any final thoughts?
No, I just think it's wonderful to see the enthusiasm of these gentlemen and other people within ANDREA, because the worst thing you can be is complacent when you take these positions. It's important to, if you take the responsibility, do the job. And these guys are doing the job plus. So it's just great to see.
Yeah. And he's doing PR the right way. He's actually
Yeah.
doing positive PR
Yeah.
for ANDREA West, naturism. And so, again, we appreciate you, Dustin, a lot. So keep up the great work and all that you do.
We sure do.
We got an email from a gentleman by the name of Dale, and I don't know if he lives in the USA or in Canada. He's a truck driver, and he transports boats, as you'll hear in a few moments, to dealerships in Canada and the USA, but I'm not sure what he calls home. But we'll read some of that. We don't have time to read the whole thing. But it starts off, see, here we go again. I'm beginning to suspect, Lisa Monroe, that you are paying people behind my back and saying, please put me first. First of all, I want the notoriety, but secondly, I want to see Frank go ballistic. Are you doing that?
And of course not. These are just gentlemen who, are being considerate and, and recognize that they should be polite and have manners. And, what
right.
can I tell you?
Well, if that's your story and you're sticking to it, then we'll move on.
It is.
Okay.
I do need to find Dale's address, though. No, anyway,
Yeah,
never
okay.
mind.
Send that check. Well, anyway, it starts off, hi, Lisa and Frank. Should I point out that he put me last, or should I just let it go for today?
I think everyone probably heard you, so I think it's okay.
Okay.
You don't need to belabor the point here.
All right. Hi, Lisa and Frank. I have just recently discovered your show, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm pretty new to naturism, and I thought you might like to hear my story. And why don't you read the next paragraph?
My name is Dale, and I've driven a truck working at Specialized Division that transports boats from several factories to many boat dealers all over the United States and Canada. I've been doing this for about the last 18 years. Needless to say, in this job, there is a lot of time available to sit and listen to audiobooks and podcasts, which I do a lot of.
Oh, yes. And I used to do a lot of car traveling as well. A lot of flying. That's greater distances, but, an hour here, 2 hours there. And I did the same thing. And I still do the same thing. Even if it's a 20-minute ride, I'll put on a podcast or an audiobook. Do you do that a lot, or are you more suitable to reading the written word?
I actually prefer the written word. I get sometimes distracted listening to audio because, I often work with something on in the background. So listening to an audiobook is, unless I'm just really concentrating, I can lose track a little bit, but unless it's really compelling book, sometimes they're so good and the narrator's so good that it pulls you in and you can't pull away from it. But no, I'm more of a, you mentioned on the show that I was more into Kindle. I can deal with Kindle. I don't like it. I want that book in my hand. I want that smell of the library. I want that. But yeah, I do definitely listen to podcasts and things like that, and talk radio when I'm in the car.
Yeah. And I discovered, a few months ago, I told the story. I was chainsawing bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
And while chainsawing the bamboo, I tried to read a book. It did not work out at all.
It's kind of hard.
So I ordered the audiobook, and I put my headphones on. I could actually listen to the book while chainsaw was operating. So, just simple things like that you learn in life as you get older, right?
Yes, and I just had this visual of you, a book in one hand and the chainsaw on the other, whacking bamboo. No, probably not the safest thing you could have possibly done. So thank goodness for your headphones.
Yeah. I think I even chainsawed the book cover a little. I thought, okay, this is a little extreme. I better just get the audiobook and go.
Oh, goodness, don't worry about you. Anyway, go ahead.
But he does have a lot of time to listen
Yeah, he sure does.
to audiobooks and podcasts because he's a truck driver. So it's good that he's making very good use of his time as opposed to just sitting there and just letting the mind wander. He's actually listening and learning and seeking knowledge. And so he began listening to a naturism show, and this is before we came aboard, so it's some years ago. And he says, I began using snippets of information from that show in my conversations with family and friends and was surprised by the harsh reactions I got at first. I soon realized that nakedness is probably a top 3 fear in our society, only behind death and public speaking. he might have a point. What do you think?
He maybe really have a point. I remember the first time I did any public speaking outside of, the forced reports and stuff in high school and college. I was a nervous wreck, but I got through it. Thankfully, I was only reading a very humorous poem. So I had it in front of me. I didn't have to be spontaneous. I didn't have to do anything. And now I'm at a point where, can you tell me what you want me to talk about? And I'll get up and talk, and I have maybe 2 or 3 points down on a piece of paper that I don't want to forget, and that's it. I don't do speeches anymore. written speeches, but it is frightening. So I agree with him. That can be terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously doing radio forever, I've just never had that same fear of public speaking. So I don't understand it because I haven't experienced it. I guess I understand it when other people tell me, but it's not the same as experiencing it yourself. But I used to get up when I first started public speaking, I had everything written out, longhand
Mm-hmm.
with a pencil,
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier to commit to memory if you're writing it as opposed to typing it. A lot of research out there on that.
Right.
And I would kind of sort of read my speech, but also speak it as though it were coming from the heart. But it wasn't, it was coming from the written page. And then eventually I whittled that down to outline form with
Mm-hmm.
several bullet points, sub points. And now I'm to the point, you saw my notes for episode
Yeah.
100.
It's like, okay, what do we do? Oh, one word here. Okay, we'll give you
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, basically one word,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes two. And then, of course, I think about it ahead of time. I practice ahead of time. So when I get to those one or two words, I don't have to think, oh, what was I going to say here?
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to say here. And so that evolves over time as well. You learn how to do things. You get more comfortable, like you have.
Yeah.
You used to basically, not quite have panic attacks, but close.
No.
And now you can get up and speak, no problem at all, right?
Well, I was in my mid-20s when I did that, and I had not been on radio yet. And you're right, that ability to speak, and then people stopping on the street and going, "Oh, I heard you this morning." You know what? That makes you realize people are listening, so you get over that kind of fear. Radio might be easier because you're not looking at the audience, but I've reached a point where I've spoken to 1,000 people plus, and it's just people. So I just talk. That's the
Yeah.
end of that. So.
And it's not because we're getting older where we're thinking, I don't care what they say, I'm going to start talking. No, it has nothing. That's not it at all.
No, not at all.
Get off my lawn. No, not at all. Anyway,
Yes.
speaking of anyway, the next paragraph begins with the word anyway. If you don't mind, go ahead.
Right. Anyway, after bringing the subject up for a while, they finally asked me if I could be naked in public. My reply was, I don't think I'd be afraid of it. That made me think seriously about it. I started practicing at home. I live on a large property and can roam about without being seen by my neighbors. Wow, that's nice. Getting used to being naked outside was a lot of fun, and I realized quite soon that I could be a naturist.
Okay. And then he actually went to a naturist club, and he says, I was comfortable in minutes and had the time of my life. How many times have we heard that before, Lisa?
1,000. I mean, practically everyone that's gone their first time is the same, saying, oh, I was nervous for 2 seconds and then I went, oh, what the heck, and threw my clothes off and wow, that was great. So
that's exactly right. I was comfortable in minutes and had the time of my life. I met so many cool people and had so many good conversations while playing like a kid at summer camp. Sadly, the time flew by in a blink and I found myself waiting out in front of the gate at 8:30 a.m. on Monday morning, feeling a little down about having to leave. And we hear that every time too, don't we?
yes, we do. Yes,
All
we
right.
do.
If you don't mind, go ahead and finish up.
Okay, that brings me to today. I found your show and I'm really enjoying it. Looks like I have about 100 more hours to listening to, and I'm happy to have found you. Like you, Frank, I don't think there can be too much nature's content out there. Thanks for all you do. Very best regards, Dale.
Yeah, very well said. And I have said that before. I don't think there can be too much.
No.
Because right now there's not enough, and that's why we came aboard to begin with. We've explained that before. But maybe I should have an addendum to that or a caveat. There can't be too much good naturism content out there. We don't want just things thrown out there willy-nilly, podcast form, written form, whatever. That's just junk and trash and not well done. And there's some of that in the world. I'm not talking about naturism, just in general. You put on a podcast, and a lot of them are, what do you guys even waste money on a microphone for? So maybe that should be my new thing. There can't be enough good naturism content out there. What do you think?
I agree with you. I think content is king in a lot of the situations. And it goes back to, you always told me there wasn't enough. You were listening to everything over and over and over because there were no new shows. And that's what kind of drove this particular show, was that people need content. You needed content. And we found out that's true. Everybody needed content. So, that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I would not mind. I'm being serious about this. Being a truck driver, I don't know if I'd be any good at it. And it's a hard job. It beats the heck out of your body, and you're physically tired when you're done at the end of each day. But wouldn't that be a cool job? You're driving alone, 8, 10, 12 hours. There are laws governing how many miles or how many hours they can drive or whatever. But whatever the max is, you can get a lot of listening done in that time, can't you?
You certainly can. And I think it's, for people who are really into learning things and being exposed to a lot of things, that certainly gives you the time, because a lot of us don't have that time. We're in that our 8 to 12 to 5 time is in this situation where people are coming at you 24/7, and you just can't do anything. So you don't have that luxury of listening. And I think that's a really good thing.
Yeah.
There are some cool jobs out there.
Yeah. Plus, you could ignore phone calls. If someone's calling
heck yeah.
who wants to talk to you and you don't call back to the next day, I'm sorry, I was driving. I try to not talk when I'm driving. Whether it's true or not, you can use that as an excuse. It's kind of
Absolutely.
a benefit.
Absolutely. And I think the best thing that was ever invented for people who work on those voicemail. You can control when and how you respond during your work day. I don't like it much for people when I'm off, but
Yeah.
I did love it for work situations, because the calls were fast and furious, and you couldn't get anything done for answering the phone. So
I had a boss one time, not a nice guy, and he didn't particularly care for me either.
yeah, really.
And every time he'd call, I'd let it go to voicemail, which is dangerous. When you're a guy who signs your check and can fire you today, I just blew off his calls. And it was always a bad call. So every time I go to the voicemail, it'd be something angry or ticked off. I'm glad I didn't take that call.
Yep.
And then one day he said, you need to answer my calls when I call. Oh, yeah, I'm out of the office, whatever. And a few days later, he called again. I thought, no, I'm not going to answer it. And I listened to the voicemail, and it was a happy birthday message. It was my birthday that day, and he was calling to wish me a happy birthday.
No.
So I missed my happy birthday call, but whatever. I also missed the other 10,000 not so nice calls. So
I got you.
All right, Lisa Monroe, with that, we thank Dale for his letter and Justin for his article. We need to head for the hills. We'll see you at the end of the show. Stay clothes free until then, okay?
Well, we'll certainly do so. I'll see you in a few.
Sounds good. The very terrific Lisa Monroe does a whole bunch around here. Our website, those memes, our merchandise, these segments. And we appreciate Lisa Monroe very much, and we'll hear from her again near the end of the show. Well, as a reminder, we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great. But if not, you can become one within moments. Just go to AANR.com, follow the navigation to membership, and within moments you will be a member just like I am and just like Lisa Monroe is. How about that? Well, we are very glad that you are with us today, spending this hour together, clothes-free living for all the right reasons. You are listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 129. And now let's get to part one of my interview with a woman from the WOW campaign from the Women in Nude Recreation from Philadelphia, the terrific Andrea. We are headed up to the city of Philadelphia, certainly the Philadelphia area. Everybody knows where that is, toward the East Coast of the United States. And we're going to talk to a woman who was raised in, we'll get into it more deeply when she comes on, but a religious household, for lack of a better term, was basically told, keep your clothes on, you need to have more care, otherwise you're a very shameful person, and all the nonsense that certainly females hear all of the time while growing up. And she went from that end of the spectrum to the opposite, clothes-free all of the time whenever she gets a chance to be. And she's one of the people from WINR. She's featured on the Andee Rodgers page, Women in Nude Recreation, through the American Association of Nude Recreation. So let's bring her to the show this morning from Philadelphia, Andrea. Good morning, Andrea. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
You've been living the clothes-free life in Philadelphia. It almost sounds like it should be a TV show, but it probably is not.
No, it's only sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's right. Well, we need to develop our own TV show. It's always nude in Philadelphia. Wouldn't that be great?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That would be a sight.
Now, before we get into your whole story, which is a magnificent story, not so much the beginning, but the ending is certainly great.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like in the Philadelphia area in terms of naturism, nudism? Can you get out and about? Do you have clubs to go to, beaches, anything going on there?
Well, down the Jersey Shore, there are very few. There are a few select beaches where nudism or naturism is acceptable.
Mhm.
Otherwise, it's pretty much, keep your clothes on and keep your eyes to yourself.
Wow. Yeah. How about outside your own house? Is there an area where you can sit in the nude and enjoy the sun, or no?
No, not really. Although I did run out to see the strawberry moon the other night.
Yeah, that counts. You won't get any sun, but it's certainly worth
No,
looking at.
no, it was fun. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. It was a very warm evening, and the moon was gorgeous.
Oh, that's really great to hear.
Yeah.
But no chance that there's no little hideaway outside, or you're blocked by bushes or a fence.
No, there's a lot of cement, a lot of houses in in the suburb where I am.
I pretty much had the same thing for a long time, although I found out if I were really, really careful that I could pull it off and get away with it. And I did for a number of years in this one area of my backyard. People would have to walk to the back of their yard to look back toward my house to see me, which was just never going to happen unless they were cutting the grass.
Yeah.
Nobody hung out in the back of their backyard. And so that was my little piece of the action, a little solace to get out and enjoy the sun, the breeze, and all that, the joy that it brings. But so do you get out often enough, either to a club or a beach, or just mostly around the house?
We were to a couple clubs a little while ago, but we don't, because of our work and the amount of family issues that we have to deal with, like family matters, children have a lot to do that infringe on just alone time, especially since I have 7 of them. They're always around.
Yeah, I like to pop over and see mom and dad and say,
yeah.
well,
I always tell them, I said, just text me before you come over.
Yeah, give me 30 seconds at least, right?
Yeah. And I lock the front door because they just walk right in. But
Well, to them, it's still their house. It's where they grew up. So it's
that's right. That's right. And the last thing they say, the last thing we want to see is, because my husband and I have always been physical with each other, physically affectionate, and always, we just do it just naturally for us. It's the two of us I'm far more sensual than they care for me to be.
You don't want to see that from your parents, right?
No, nobody wants to see their parents. They're like, ew.
Yeah. Although there's tons of research out there that when kids see their mom and dad being affectionate with each other, they tend to grow up to be more affectionate with their partner. So there is a payoff at the end.
That is true. They know we love each other, and that he's not going to bury me in the basement.
Yeah, right. Always a good way to start your adult life. Now, my dad did not bury my mom in the basement. I'm good to go. But
yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And it's a thin pour, so it'd be very easy.
Yeah. Well, hopefully and gratefully, I should say, we haven't had to deal with that with you.
No.
But I want to get into your story. Now, there's a write-up about you on the Women in Nude Recreation page. I want to read a little bit of that, just the first paragraph, really, and then have you expound upon it.
Okay.
Growing up in a deeply Catholic household, I was immersed in a culture of guilt, modesty, and discipline. Those are 3 big words. Guilt, first of all.
No, a lot.
Modesty and discipline. My body was something to be hidden, controlled, and rarely celebrated. And I'm just feeling the chills throughout my body reading those 2 sentences. That's just awful, beyond awful, but it's also fairly normal for a lot of people, especially females. Before I fully understood it, I learned to be ashamed of my body. There were always rules about what was appropriate, what was holy, and most of all, what was shameful. Ouch and wow. So you had to go all through that. I don't know how you ever overcame it, because what's ingrained in us as children often stays there forever. But when did you get to the point where you realized, maybe that's not really the way to go? Was it several years into adulthood or what?
Pretty much. My mom was the kind of lady who threw herself in front of the TV when tampon commercials came on.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so don't look at that. And I come from a large family. I'm number 6, so it's not like I didn't know what was going on, but not until an older age. And sex wasn't discussed. Sexuality wasn't discussed. I was a Girl Scout, went to Catholic school. That's when, back in the early 60s, when the nuns took rulers to you.
Oh, yeah.
So I see a nun, I still get PTSD.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I would imagine so. Now, I told you before we started, I was also raised Catholic. I
Yeah.
did not go to Catholic school. I went to public school, but we had, catechism classes we had to go to. And early on, they were taught by nuns. So I understand what that's all about. I didn't care much for them, but that's
Yes.
how they were trained to be. You can't really
The
fault them.
penguin.
Yeah, that's right. And they lived right across the street from the church. And it's like, well,
Yeah, of course.
even if I go up there to play basketball or hockey in the wintertime, which they, had fields for that, then I got to be on my best behavior playing basketball because
they're watching.
They're watching. They could overhear something, and then I'll hear about it in catechism that Saturday or whatever night we went.
Yeah.
Now, my story is a little different. My dad seldom had clothes on. My mom almost always had clothes on, although she'd walk around in a towel if she just got right out of the shower, come out with nothing on, but then put a towel on. So it was much more relaxed, even though it was still Catholic. Now, I'm wondering, is it because you're a female and I'm a male, both raised Catholic, but we were raised differently because you're a female and I'm a male? What do you think?
No, I just think my mom and dad were they were modest, and they came from New England, which was a little more uptight, although my father's family was thrown out of Boston for being religious heretics, but yeah.
Why not?
So, I mean, I don't know. It's just the way they were, born in the 20s. And they went through, they were just raised. This is what you do. They were very formal. I can't say they were rigid. I was never, it wasn't like a scene from Jane Eyre where she's standing in the middle of the courtyard in the rain on the chair being chastised. No, It was just like, we don't do that. No. And my mom made a lot of our clothes. And so any outfits that had like any kind of V or décolletage were usually up pretty close to the clavicle.
Yeah.
Or there was a big flower there.
Right. Well, even as a guy, at some point when I decided I'm going to step out of my norm and be the cool guy, right? One of the cool guys at school, probably 6th grade, 7th grade, when you think you got to be cool. I always wore a dress shirt to school.
Yeah.
Only because I think that's partially how I was raised. I also enjoyed being dressed up, which is contrary to what nudism is all about, but we'll leave that for another day. So I would always have it buttoned all the way up, not the top button, no, because that would be a little, constrictive there. But one day I decided I'm going to leave the top button open as always, but I'm going to have the next button down open as well. Now I'm going to be really styling and probably take over the school with coolness. So
very suave. Very suave.
But my mom saw me as I was getting ready to leave. She goes, hey, what is this? I'm trying to play innocent. What do you mean? She goes, button another button, please.
Yeah.
And she wasn't all that nice or pleasant about it. I said, well, why? She goes, I think we both know why. No, that doesn't work around here. You'll get in trouble at school. I'll have to come and pick you up. Button another button. So I had to do that. So even as a guy, we go through some of that, but women go through so much more, don't they? Do you think?
Oh my gosh. Worse. Oh my gosh. Because one, like I said, women's bodies are constantly changing. It's almost like an amoeba with false feet. You're constantly moving and changing, and parts of you are stretching and other parts are getting skinny. And the year I found I had a waist, that's when it's like, I really like this in me. And, but for women, it's so hard. And especially going to Catholic school and keeping your hem at a certain length, and guys being what guys are, they're just intrigued by what's above the hem. And just boys, because everybody got hormones raging, and it's hard to control all that. And that's where they put the clamps on. Let's control the rage and the hormones. But nature has a way of doing its own thing. In my teen years, not until I was about 14, because I was the really tall kid. Yeah, I was like 5'8" in 7th and 8th grade.
Wow.
So so I'm this big, tall, and the boys would make fun of me, but the spring of 8th grade, all of a sudden, I changed. And by the end of the school year, they're like, guys are like, hey, and I'm like, oh,
Right.
yikes.
Yeah.
Get away from me, dude. I'm, you know, they beat me up in the beginning of the year. They're like, no, I just decided I liked myself the summer after 8th grade. And I wanted to experiment with clothing.
Mhm.
And my mother had a lot to say with that. Oh, you can't wear that. It's too tight. It's like, but it's stretchy. The new fabric just came out and nothing's cotton anymore.
Yeah.
So I know that's when what is it? Lycra and all that stuff
Oh, yeah.
started coming into fashion,
Yeah.
and it enabled the human being to be seen more curvy rather than clumpy.
Well, you might have gone through that whole phase, I'm guessing middle school roughly, where hot pants was the big rage, right?
Oh yeah, hot
Yeah.
pants and the white go-go boots and the
Yeah.
platform shoes and
Yeah. I remember, as a guy seeing kind of like you described, girls all buttoned up, and then suddenly the next day you've got all these hot pants up to their, where you're not supposed to see
oh,
in
mine weren't
public.
allowed to be that hot.
Okay. Okay. Well, they were at my school.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as you said, everything kind of takes over from there in terms of hormones and everything else. Like, well, how am I supposed to focus on this algebra class when 3 gals are sitting ahead of me or off to the side with, shorts up to there, as they say.
right.
And so that's probably not right either, but that's where we've gone as a society. You have to look this way, you have to be tantalizing that way, as a female, because all the boys need to be turned on, so they'll maybe select you as a wife someday. Is kind of the unwritten or unspoken message. At least
Right.
I always. You agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much, well, in Catholic school, especially, you had to have your hems a certain length, and the nuns, hence the masking tape and the stapler always came into handy to
Yeah.
raising and lowering our hems when critically needed. But
Yeah. Yeah.
but with that comes conversation and discussion. And if you don't have conversation and discussion, then you have the pent up rage and raging hormones doing what they want to do. A lot of people now, I've always been frank with my children because my parents were not frank with me.
Yeah.
It was a hush hush. So, I would get little bits and pieces, but never enough discussion. I was like 5 when my mom had my brother. So I knew she was pregnant,
Yeah.
but I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about
Yeah.
it. But so I've always been very open with my children, seeing that I've had my first at 18, 19,
Mhm.
19,
Right.
and he's 48 now.
Yeah.
And my youngest is 21. So they
Right.
all know what's going on.
Well, that's one of those issues. I mean, even as a kid, I realized, well, this is just wrong because your parents wouldn't tell you how babies come to be, and certainly nothing about sexual relations.
Right.
Well, you're going to learn it from somewhere, and if it's not going to be mom and dad, it's going to
That's
be
right.
the loser, the pothead in school. Hey, baby, let me show you a few things.
Or
And
between the fold out and the pages.
yeah, yeah, that was fairly big in our school with
Oh,
the
yeah.
guys anyway. Hey, come to my locker after third
Well,
hour, man. I have the
that,
newest. Like,
well,
what?
that was the only venue we had
Yeah.
because we did not have all this video barrage hitting us.
Right. And then it was for the longest time, it was just nude women or partially clad women in
Yes.
magazines.
Right.
And then Playgirl magazine came along, and that took the country by storm. Like, wow, I can
Oh,
see naked men too.
yeah. Well, you could see all naked women, but you couldn't see all naked. You could only see men from the waist up because
Yeah.
it's because it was a man ruled thing.
Yeah, I thought so too. I've always thought that even from the beginning of time, men made up the rules. We're going to keep our clothes on, but all the women can be naked as they want to be. In movies.
Right. Well, because that's the way I want it to happen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, none of that makes any sense at all. And I'm glad we got to the point where we can be more open with the nude body. but still a lot of hangups out there. A lot of people still don't understand what you do or what I do or what Anna does. It's just you guys have your clothes off for no particular reason. Yeah, except there is a reason. I enjoy being clothes free whenever I can. So
Right.
we still struggle with that, right?
Right. Yeah. And occasionally, hey, if it's chilly, I like my white shirt. I like actually it's my husband's white shirt. I'll use that is just if it's chilly or whatever. Now today, oh my gosh, it's in the 60s today. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah,
So
definitely on the chilly side.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm not foolish either. I mean, if it's chilly, I'm going to have something on. Especially, I get cold around the shoulders, so I'll
Yeah.
need to put a shirt on, and then I'm okay. Now I won't go outside and bask in the sun if it's well, I guess I would if it were 60. I wouldn't if it were 50. So
No.
you have to use intelligence. There's
Yes, it's not just, oh, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
No, it's like it's using your brain, being natural, being not about showing the world this is what I do.
Yeah.
It's not boasting. It's just it's particular to me. I'm comfortable with myself.
Mhm.
I don't force it on you because you're not comfortable with me being comfortable with myself.
Right. Right.
So and I only go where other people are comfortable with themselves when I'm going to do this.
And very wise. I noticed when I was a kid, okay, girls are buttoned up, can't show any skin. If there's a bra strap showing, for heaven's sakes, you're going home for the day.
Oh
Let
yeah.
alone, yeah, all that stuff. Guys, on the other hand, and I missed this part of schooling, I'm just young enough to have missed it. Nude swimming for males was mandatory in public schools, and nude males for a lot of things in life were mandatory at the time. And I thought, well, there's something wrong with that whole equation there. Clothed up to the neck, females, totally nude males, not together. They'd be in separate parts of the
Right.
school, whatever. And then it hit me at some point. They were controlling both of us. Okay, females keep your clothes on because we said so, and guys are a whole lot less gregarious and macho showing when they're nude as opposed to clothes. Now, I played sports forever, and so I was always dealing with other guys. Yeah, hey man, we're gonna kick your butt, and all that
Yeah.
nonsense. How
And
guys
of
talk.
course the men's gym room.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the locker room.
Yeah, but guys did not talk that way in swimming class or other mandatory nude situations. It was, hey, Frank, how you doing? I guess we'll go swimming today. Whereas I know for sure if we would have had suits on, it would be, yeah, I'm going to beat your butt in
Yeah.
swimming today.
Yeah.
So it was a way of controlling both of us, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was keeping you vulnerable.
Yeah.
And women were told to keep closed, don't expose anything. God forbid. We didn't have swimming in my school because, I don't think they wanted to deal with it.
Probably
But yeah,
so.
yeah, but I know my kids all had swimming and because I sent all my kids to public school.
Mhm.
And there is the vulnerability, and the guys and the girls alike. I mean, it's bad time in high school for anybody because of the insecurity factor for anybody.
Right.
But I would, like I said, I would always talk frankly with my kids, and I think my kids were more secure in the fact that I let them know what's going on.
Yeah.
And and pretty much the bathroom, when you have children, the bathroom is an open door anyway. So
Right. Yeah.
most of my conversations were held in there anyway because they knew they had me for a second.
That's right.
And the pets would come in, the dogs,
Oh, sure.
the whole
Yeah.
group would be there,
Yeah.
And so, but they're very comfortable seeing me as I am. And on occasion, it's like, Mom, can you please just put your shirt on? I said, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just I want to have. I don't want to be distracted.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just societal norms, I guess. I would call them societal abnorms, but
Right, but they still like having the clothes that are very provocative.
sure.
So I said, so what's the diff?
Yeah, exactly. Now, I want to talk for a moment. We're talking to Andrea this morning. She's from Philadelphia and had a feature on the Women in Nude Recreation page. Andrea, you wrote on that journal page with WINR, your first marriage your husband basically looked at every woman in the world as, hey, this is great news and kind of like art, and wow, she's alive, and I'm guessing, wow, what a babe over there, or whatever terms they used. But he looked at you as though you were somewhat invisible because he just didn't see you as a woman of the world. He saw you as a wife to be at home and clothes on, and whatever he saw you as, saw you differently than other women. Obviously, that couldn't have made you feel too good about yourself either, right?
No, no. We dated all through high school, and it's like one of those, oh, I can't live without you.
Yeah.
And of course, we married young.
Yeah.
And I had 2 children by him.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, now I'm bored.
Yeah.
And I put him through 1, 2, 3, 4 degrees, including a PhD. And then I was too dumb to live with type thing. It's like all my other, and then he started, and he would always be picking at me. This is, ugh, what, ugh, ick. Why are your feet are ugly. But even go for the feet.
Yeah.
But he always told me I would have anybody else in bed, but I want you in the kitchen. Thank you so much.
Oh no. I can see why he's no longer around.
I am a hell of a cook, though.
So that's the good side of that whole situation, right?
Yeah, I mean, I am an extremely good baker. I do breads, and
wow.
but I feed. I will feed the world. I am, that kind of person. But stop cutting up my feet, man. I have enough problems with them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just after the way you grow up, which is keep yourself covered to the max, and
right.
And you're dealing with that. Yeah.
So even when it came to family, it was him, and then it was us.
Yeah.
He would always, I got something else to do. I got something better to do. And I wasn't worth it, but I afforded him a life that he now aspires to, which is great. But that's okay. My life turned out extremely better and more rewarding.
Oh, yeah. Well, you said in that same article, that marriage left you feeling even more disconnected from your body.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I felt like I had to explain everything. Anybody says anything, I had to explain myself about everything. And, it's like, but, I was always very, I didn't want to offend anybody, very sheepish. I was pretty much a doormat.
Yeah.
But now, the gloves are off, baby.
I would say, yeah. And before we started, you even said you're pretty good at kickboxing, right? So people aren't going to mess with you now.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I'm a black belt.
Wow.
I went through. I took a lot of karate, tang sudo. I did a lot of kickboxing, a lot of sport karate. I like continuous fighting.
Gets all that aggression out, right?
It really does, especially when you have as many kids as I do. So.
Probably a set of skills you wish you would have had maybe back in middle school and high school, right?
I just didn't have the temperament for it then.
Right,
I was very sheepish and shy. One of the main things in my life is I had a lazy eye, which I didn't get taken care of until after my second child.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, you always keep your head down, you don't make eye contact, and you don't want people looking at you. And so, like I said, I was a very shy individual, and very, I'd do anything for anybody. I'd be a big help, but love, always singing, always dancing. And then don't do that in public, please. Don't, please stop that. And please, not in the supermarket. I still do it in the supermarket. I don't care.
Good for you. And, so do I. I mean, part of that I was told too, like, you got to behave yourself a little bit. And I wasn't misbehaving. I was just dancing in the cereal aisle.
Yeah.
And not to an extreme, just having fun as a kid. And I was told, I probably shouldn't do that in public. It's like, well, what? Nobody's complaining.
Yeah, I'm not hurting anybody.
No. And now I do it. Not all of the time, but if something strikes me, what the heck?
Yeah.
And just enjoy life a little bit. Well, then you met your second husband. He said to you, or showed you through behavior, he saw the real you, as you put it, not just the outer shell, but the real, raw, radiant me. and told you without hesitation, often, that you were gorgeous. Your body deserves to be celebrated. Well, yeah, that's the message we need to be giving as men. You need to be receiving as women. And of course, at first, you didn't believe him, according to your
Oh,
story.
no. I said, like, oh, how could you? How could you? I said, you're just new to this. Okay, come on.
Yeah, right.
This is,
Right.
my body's a wonderland. Okay, great.
Yeah,
I got it.
yeah. It can't be real, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it turns out that it was. And you put that he introduced you to nudism. So was he a nudist before you even met?
Oh, no, he was cripplingly shy.
Oh, okay.
But he was, because he is a very fuzzy guy.
Yeah.
And people don't like hairy men. I said, "Oh, I love a hairy chest." And it's like, and he was built like a cartoon. Oh my God, he had earlobes and shoulders and
Yeah.
no neck. He was there,
Yeah.
with a 50 jacket with a 31-inch waist. He was gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's up to like a 35,
Yeah. Well,
36.
that happens. That's still really good, for somebody over 30.
But anyhow, he was he appreciated me and I appreciated him. Yeah, everything was fine. Everything he appreciated everything I did. He told me when to stop complaining about myself. He told me to shut up a couple times.
Yeah. Good.
It's like, and enough. Okay, because I perseverate, but but it took a good 2 to 5 years to get me out of that whole mindset from, because things were crazy. I mean, when you have mental trauma drummed on you for 12 years, you believe it.
That's right. The very terrific Andrea from the WOW campaign with Women in Nude Recreation with Andee Rodgers. And on next week's show, which will be episode 131, part 2 with Andrea. And before we go, until Wednesday comes along, let's bring back in our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Welcome back, Lisa.
It's very nice to be back.
Yes. Good to hear from Andrea. We'll have part 2 of my interview with her next week. And everybody has their own story. And each story is unique. There are some elements that are the same. As in the naturism community, parts of your story are the same as everybody else. But there are also unique elements person to person, which that's what makes it fascinating to me when I hear somebody's story, right?
It does to me too, because everyone came to this for a different reason. There's set things about naturism. We love it. We enjoy the air. We hear that all the time. The freedom of swimming naked. All those things are very common to most of us. Yeah. But it's the uniqueness of what propelled them to do so. And, we hear a lot about people with body positivity but the fact is there are a lot of other reasons that people come in and a lot of other reasons that make them happy about being naturists. And we haven't had a single guest on yet that actually had the same story. They may have had similar situations part of it, but not the same story. And it is fascinating.
Yeah, always good to hear. And I have a special affinity for those who maybe had a rough go. Not that I appreciate that. I don't want anyone to have a rough go.
No, absolutely not.
But they've had a rough go in life, and somehow, some way, they discovered being naked feels great, and then their life is never the same again. I like hearing those stories. I know you do too. Yeah,
I do too. And the fact is that tragedy and hard things and bad things and good things happen to everybody. We all suffer through those. And if naturism is something that as that TikTok says, find your joy, if that's what helps you find your joy, then that's a wonderful thing. But the scope of naturism is so much broader than just that. And I think we've been fortunate to hear from people like Andrea that, how they got here, even though they had some situations, but they found that fun and that contentment in naturism. And that's a great thing.
Yep. Always love to hear it. With that, Lisa Monroe, let's head for the hills. Have a great clothes-free few days, and I'll see you on Wednesday.
Okay, sounds great. And I'm going to jump in the pool. I don't know about anybody else. It's too hot.
Sounds good.
All righty. Bye.
Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 129 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.